Hi, so here's my CT110 with the 125cc Lifan engine. This project took about 4 weeks, but you probably get it done in a week if you got all the parts. So let's get into it. So the first thing you'll notice when you get the engine out is that they come with all bullet plugs for the electrical connections, and the 105cc original engine comes with this 4-pin. So what I've done is I've just snapped off cut off the bullet connectors, and I've just put them into the original one here. So next on was the exhaust. What I've done is I've just put in I think 2 or 3 of the washers. So the exhaust lines up with the engine. It's just that there's a bit of a gap. You might be able to see if I can get the camera. Yeah, so they line up fine. It just needs some more washers in there, otherwise it doesn't make contact with the engine itself, and it's just all loose. Next up will be the brake pedal. So the brake pedal will make contact with the foot pegs. So what I've done is I've just welded in 2 places here, so it's got this really big curve on the 2 angles, so you might be able to see my not so good welding there. So I've cut into it about 2/3 of the way, just the hacksaw, and then I've just bended it back on itself and we welded them in the 2 places, as you can see, and that just gives it enough clearance so that it doesn't make contact with the foot pegs. So I've tried to keep it as original as I can, so that means the skid plate needs to be underneath. So I've had to put 2 extra holes in because this engine doesn't line up. Yeah, you can also get a good view of the underside of the foot pegs and the adapter plate that you will absolutely need. So with the bolt holes, so you only have to drill out the top one here from the 8mm as it comes out just to a 10mm, so the original bolt will thread through, and you have to drill it. Don't try and get like an 8mm one and adapt it or something, just drill it out. You don't have to worry about the second engine bolt because that won't be used. Instead, the adapter kit uses the original bolt down here and just has this 2 of these metal pieces coming down, and it bolts onto the bottom of the engine. And if you want to use the original gear shifter like I have done, you will have to also weld the foot pegs here. So you weld on the bottom angle, so it's not as tight of a curve. And you'll have to re-weld the top one here so that it's flat with the as it was originally. And these are solid pieces, so you don't have to worry about burning through it with your welder like you do with the brake pedal. And this one's not much use, the standing leg I suppose, because it's so far away from the bike that it pretty much tips over if you try to use it. but I put it back on there anyway. So what you have to do is you have to weld it a bit so that it makes a bit of a bump here. And that's just because when it comes back up, if you don't weld it, it's going to make contact with the chain. And then of course the mud flap, I believe it is, for the chain, you won't be able to get this bolt in, but that's okay because you can always use the other two, and it seems to be okay like it is. And if you want to change the front sprocket, unfortunately this is one complete part here, so you have to take off the gear shifter and the foot pegs to get into your front sprocket there. So I'm just doing a little bit of work on the carby now, but I'm using the original intake system, so it's not too hard. You just have to have a additional spacer there. I think the second one here is a bit thicker than the original by probably a millimeter or half a millimeter, and that just gives it enough space, but it's still pretty tight. And the engine here only produces about 50 watts of electrical power, not including the headlight. So unfortunately you're going to have to change your bikes to use LEDs for everything except probably the dashboard lights and the headlight. So I'm currently in the process of doing that. So I've just got the LED tail light here, and I'm waiting for some LED indicator lights. And then I've just got the original sort of incandescent bulb in there right now. And with the chain, I'll see if I can get it for you. You're going to have to put in an extra link because the engine is a little bit further forward, or the front sprocket is a bit further forward than the original engine. So I've had this is a new chain, and I've had the original chain laying around, so I've just knocked off one of these links here, and then I've just used another chain connector. So it only needs to be one link longer if you're using the 15 tooth front sprocket and the 45 rear sprocket, which I believe is the original sprockets. So I think the top speed I've gotten on this so far, and I've been riding it for about 3 weeks, is 85 kilometers an hour on a flat road with pretty much no wind. And you're probably doing about 10,000 RPM, to be honest, so you wouldn't want to be running at that for very long. You can easily get up to 70, not a problem, even with a bit of a headwind, which is a lot better than the old, where you probably get up to 60, 65 and a bit of a headwind. And you're probably wondering why I haven't got the cover on top. It's because if you try to put the cover on, it's going to make contact with your choke on the top here. So you can either grind down the choke knob, or you can grind down the top cover, unfortunately. And with the skid plate, I've only gotten 3 of the 4 bolts in there, but it's good enough, better than having 2 out of 4. I believe that's all of it. Thanks for watching.